So, could probably just start from a T-side perspective because it's just easier to explain from T-side. So, I think Cobble is probably just the map that is easiest to explain on. Uh, but the general concept here is we base our entire T-side off of defaults. Okay, that's our approach. Our default is very simple. In its essence, you want to split everyone all across the map. You want to take as much map control as you can before even having to take duels. You can use your kit to push them back. You slowly but surely take map control away from the CTs, and then the goal then after that is to force a rotation and reach the site with the least people on, least CTs on. So for example, if we're talking about map control here on Cobble, we're talking about literally clearing all the way through long, basically up until this point. You don't need to cross this line. Exactly the same with here, up until this point. You don't even have to get someone here. I'm not saying you can't get someone here, but this is your map control. Once you've gotten long and middle, then you've pushed the CTs back far enough. You can even use kit to try and flush them out of these areas. But then you've pushed the CTs back far enough for them to actually be playing site, meaning they have no information. Okay? And now what most teams make, or the mistake that most teams make after that, is by completely rotating everyone off of here. If you've got 5 players alive, there's no point in rotating everyone off. You want to leave one player here. Now, once again, if you're leaving one player here, what would be your thinking behind this? You just got map control, you just push the CTs back, and you slowly but surely taking map control away from them to the point where they're starting to feel uncomfortable. They're starting to just holding sites, holding defaults, their kit's running out, the time's running out, maybe even a man up, maybe it's a 5-on-4. The pressure is obviously on the CT side and they want to get information back. They need to be making plays here. So there's no point in you as a terrorist if you've just cleared these areas. You got to sit with the mentality of they're going to be pushing. They want info from you. So there's no point in you standing here in the open holding this angle because it's a shit duel to take. What you want to do is you want to sit on an off angle. You want to sit in a gay position. We have a keyword in Bravado. We say settle. Once you get into once you've taken that map control and you're waiting for CTs to make the first move, then we call settle. Where it could be if we're on a 5-on-4, then we call settle. We're waiting for CTs to make a move because the pressure's on them. Or even if it's just a 5-on-5, but we've taken map control from them. So for example, a settle position would be literally holding this angle like this. You don't even have to take this duel. You're waiting like this. This CT in a 5-on-4 or maybe a 5-on-5 with very little map control, he's going to come and he's going to clear this and he's going to go, okay, cool, this is clear, and you're going to hear him running away, most likely. Or he's going to carry on pushing, in which case you're going to get the kill because you're sitting in a very off angle like this. Or another angle is maybe to sit like this over here, or maybe just to sit over here and waiting. You know, like super gay angles where you won't really expect them to, or they won't really expect you to be there. So once again, if you're sitting here and you hear the CT clearing this angle over here and then he starts running away, then you just need to relay that information. It's all about just relaying the information to your team, saying, okay, cool, they just cleared long, everyone rotate back to B, back to A, and then you leave one person on B to just create a presence here to keep them here, reaffirm that this information that they just got is the right information, although it's not. So just from that perspective, it's always about taking map control, applying pressure on the CTs, and then waiting for them to make a move. If they don't make a move, if you're playing this position, like I just said now, if you're holding this position and you kill that guy, the chances of that guy pushing on A again is almost zero. He's not going to push these positions again because he's going to see, okay, we're doing 4-1s or 1-4s, and as soon as I want to push for info, they just kill me. So after you've done that and you've killed the CTs by them coming for info, they're going to be much less likely to do that, in which case it becomes far more likely for you as a terrorist team to then do a 5-man. So I said at the start, you're taking control of these areas and you're keeping someone here, but once they've pushed into you a couple of rounds earlier, then you can start leaving these positions. You can leave this open completely and you can do a 5-man onto another bomb site if you want to. The same way with on this side of the bomb site. For example, if we're playing a 4-1, which is we always start from the left, 4 people on B, 1 person on A. If we're playing our 4-1, we generally have 2 people on platform and 2 people holding drop, and then 1 person just holding A very defensively. But we generally start out with a 3-2 because we let someone. Aaron usually helps me to get somewhere into middle or somewhere onto A, and then he'll rotate back, and then we'll move into a 4-1. And from there on, if I have a lot of kit left and I want to fake on A, whether or not I've only taken map control, or whether or not we're in a 5-on-4 and a 5-on-5, it's pretty much irrelevant. Now it's getting to the point where we want to force a rotation. Instead of just dry walking or jumping into an execute, or dry walking into a bomb site, or bursting out, we want to force a rotation. You want to play with the CTs. It's all about mind fucking them at the end of the day. So what we do is, when I fake, even though we've got 2 people on platform, they're not sitting holding angles like this. They're literally hiding. They've got 1 person hiding here, they've got 1 person just holding this angle and waiting. And what's happening from the CT's perspective is, maybe you're in a 4-on-5, maybe you have no map control, and now there's shit happening on A, and your team is calling, they're executing on A because there's 1 person that lurk that's busy throwing shit onto A. What's the CT gonna do? If you're CT and you get that A call, right before you rotate, you just quickly want to get some info on platform. You can maybe pop flash it and step it and just check, okay, cool, I don't see anything on plat, yes, it has to be A. But meanwhile, there's 4 gents just chilling here. So we just say go dark. So I'm gonna fake, everyone go dark. Because the second you keep 2 guys here and he peeks it, the rotation stops. So you constantly just want to be playing with them from that regard. Like, it's very individual in the sense where, as an individual, if you get yourself into these solo positions, it becomes very important to synchronize yourself well with the majority group, whether it be a 3-2 or 4-1. So for example, let's say you get someone into drop here. This guy really doesn't have to do anything. He can stay here. The fact that the CTs know there's a terrorist in here means that they can't run around in this area. They can't freely rotate. They can't quickly rotate. They can't just leave B. This guy here can literally just stay here. He can make noise, he can go for a little peek, he can pop flash out, he can do whatever he wants to. As long as there's a presence that is here, the other 4 can go wherever they want to. They can go B, they can walk on A. It's very relevant where they go. But it's just that mentality of having people in positions where they can play there on their own and they can play there fairly safe. Once again, on platform as well, if you're doing a 4-1 or 1-4 on this map, you want some form of consistency with regards to your equipment as well. For example, if you guys are sending 4 people B every round, and you guys are doing the get right smoke, then you guys are pop flashing over and perhaps mollying drop or whatever. If you guys are doing that every round with 4 people here, then the 1 person that's here needs to do it as well. Otherwise, the CTs are just going to say, okay, well, they've been smoking here every round, now they're not smoking here. So something's different. Maybe they don't have as many people here. The same with this danger smoke at the start of every round, throwing that danger smoke, throwing that flash. Also, I just recommend throwing the flash first, because that AWP can peek out and kill you before you can get the smoke down. So, but yeah, that's just, those 2 things need to be consistent. If you're throwing that get right smoke every round, you need, and this every round, regardless of the 4-1, 1-4, 3-2 or 2-3, you need to be throwing the same equipment. So that's just the general concept of the default. You're trying to make it, regardless of how your split is working, or how you what's the word, assigning your players in the individual positions, just having those things constant. And just having people also play, like, if you guys are playing outside of A, you don't always have to take A control. Like, it also depends on the team that you play. If the CTs are running over you as a T side, you can literally sit and hold long from here. Like, I don't know why everyone's so concerned with always playing close to the positions. You don't always have to have that presence. But also, even if you're 1 person, it's very important, if you are that 1 person, if you're not going to get yourself into an area sneakily, like, use your kit at the start of the round. Like, make a presence with your kit. It's always about what can you as an individual do to mindfuck the CTs. That's literally all the T side is about. What can you do to mindfuck the CTs?
Lekker. And how would you guys go about discipline, not repeaking, all that stuff? Do you have a system for that, or is it just general knowledge where someone knows he doesn't have to do that or whatever?
Okay, so if you're in a, let's say we're in the process of taking map control, just from a T side perspective now, and we end up we do our little pop flash here or whatever, and we end up getting a kill on this guy over here. Okay, us getting this kill here, unless we have information that the second guy is playing close in middle and we actually have teammates that can capitalize on that and kill him, we won't re-peak on that, or we won't commit on that. So if we have enough information, we'll get one kill and we'll commit on that and fully rush the bomb site. Okay, but if we don't have enough information, it gets very simple. We get that kill and then we chill. That's all it is. No more re-peeking. We're playing super safe. Like we'll re-peek to the extent where like we can pop flash over there and we can peek this corner and we can just chill. And once now we're on a 5-on-4. If I'm playing on my own here and I just got this kill, I don't have to move past this line here. I've no need to. I can literally sit like this. I can wait. That's my job done. 5-on-4, pressures on the CTs. There's no need for me to do anything. And then I just need to check whatever the other guys are doing. I need to be communicating whatever I can to them, and then we make a play based off of that. And what you want to do is you want the round to carry out and drag out as long as it can. You want to preserve your kit, you want to play slow, you want to hold the gay angles, and you want the CTs to push into you. So from that regard, like, it's everyone in our team understands that concept. If we get the advantage early, let's keep the advantage by playing safe. Play one and done spots, settle positions if you want to call it that, and then we just chill. From a CT's perspective, like, if you're peeking platform and you're getting a kill, like, it's more dependent on the situation you're in. I feel that if you know you can't fall back, you're gonna end up re-peeking and you're just gonna go for shots or whatever. But as a CT, like, it's even more important as a CT because it's more difficult to play the CT just in terms of the economy. So if you kill someone, like, you just gotta reposition yourself and play a bit more safe, like, or just have a teamie. Just small things that you guys can practice. For example, if you've got a guy that's peeking platform, he gets a kill, just have your teamie waiting him with a flashbang. After the first kill, he pops the second one. Those T's are expecting to trade, because that's one thing that T's always have to do, is they have to trade. As a terrorist or as a CT, it doesn't really matter what side you want to play, but it's more important on T side because you're moving together in a group of two most of the time, is he's going to want to trade. So you get that shot, you call the flash, you peek again off the second one, like, pretty basic stuff like that. But it's just from an individual perspective, like, you just have to apply discipline. Like, there's nothing else to it. Like, if you find that players aren't really playing disciplined in that sense where they're re-peeking, they're not settling after they get a kill, then you just have to watch the demo and call it out afterwards and discuss it as a team. There's not really anything else you can do about that.
Okay. And let's say we've pushed out all the fucking spots. We've got map control STs. I'm talking about we CT now. What could we do to get that back? Do we group up and take an area back? Get information, or
if we've taken all
just
the
wait?
map control and you guys are CTs and you want info?
Yeah.
Okay, so it differs from map to map. The reason why Cobble is such a good example for the T side of things is because Cobble isn't a map that really accommodates for CT aggression. There's not a lot of info. You can get a little bit of info by having platform control, quickly peeking platform. But for example, if you want to get proper information on A, like the lengths that you need to go to flank them is you have to cross this line here, or you have to cross this line here, and it becomes very risky if someone's just holding any of these angles. So from that perspective, it becomes more difficult on Cobble to get that map control back. But just in general, like, if you find yourself in a position where the T's are slowly but surely starving you of map control and pushing you back, all you have to do is, if you realize that is how the terrorists are playing, you as a CT need to conserve your kit, your equipment, so that you can either play the round out till late and then start throwing smokes and stuff when there's 40-30 seconds left, and then you can just play behind the smokes, because obviously the terrorists use a lot of equipment to get that map control that they have. But other than that, if you don't really have that option, you just have to do information pushes. Like, I mean, something that we saw quite quite frequently of SK, for example, is Cold Zero and Fallen literally pushing with an AWP like this and an M4 and just clearing every angle. But what they would do is they would be aware of these positions. They would clear them out as well, which is something that most people don't do because you don't really expect it, but they would still clear out these angles. So they would go for that info play, and then they would just like rotate the CTs around, or you just have to work on like really good kit usage. For example, proper pop flashes. If you can't, for example, just on this B bomb site, if you lose drop, you can't not have platform. It's a give and take. If you lose drop and platform, you fucked. Like you can't really do much. Like if you're playing a team that has half a clue of how to breach this B bomb site on terrorists from having both drop down and platform control, they're just going to do it at exactly the same time. They're going to be pop flashing properly, they're going to be using the correct smokes, and there's pretty much no setup that you can have on your CT side, even with 3 players on this bomb side. If they're breaching from both of these areas at the same time with the right kit, like you're not going to be able to hold it. So we just have a rule that if we lose drop, like I just have to be ready with the pop flash, like from here or from here, and then I'll just throw a pop flash and Johnny has to come and he has to take platform control, which is something that we try to get platform control as early in the round as possible. I saw you guys smoked off. Yeah, I think it was you guys, or it was actually it was WRG. I don't know what your guys' usage of kit is here, but to use your smoke at the start of every round here is a waste, because T's and good, any good team is just gonna go, okay, well they're using their kit, we don't even have to do anything, let's just wait for their smokes. Now we breach late, they don't have any smokes left. So if you can save your smokes, one thing that we like doing, for example, is we like to pop flash onto platform and we like to smoke off there, and we like to clear out that with the molly, and then we've got deep platform control, and you can have your AWP posting or even just an M4, and you've got this early information. Then you can hold drop. Like we like to double up drop then. So if we've got someone there, especially if an AWP is there, myself and Aaron would double up drop and we would hold drop down, because we're expecting them. Once again, just always think about it from your opposition's perspective. If you're sitting here and you're getting smoked off, like you're like, okay, shit, we can't really push through here. We either need to pop flash through, or we need to wait, or we need to just take drop. Most teams just go for the option of taking drop control, and then they'll start with the normal bullshit and they'll try to take control here. But if you've got 2 people holding this area, like it's going to be a lot more difficult to take that. But once we lose drop, if we do, then we just make sure that we can take platform control again if we lose it. So it's all about that give and take at the end of the day. Cash, for example, if you guys are losing middle control, you need to push door, or you need to push main, or you need to push B halls. One of the 3. I know the T's are expecting it, but you got to do it in a way where it'll work out for you. Either a 2-man push, or you do a nice pop flash, pushing in afterwards. You know, like main is a simple example of if you throw one pop flash, you can take main control, and you can just then smoke deep. So that's once again just an example of, as a CT, if you find that you got to pick up on the terrorist tendencies. If you find that this terrorist team keeps on taking middle control on cash, and you're an A player, let's rather not use all your smokes just on A main at the start of every round. Like try to pop flash main, or take main, or do a 2-man push a door, or do something, because you can't not have control of those areas. I think the biggest problem that most teams have right now is, or in South Africa at least, is if we're playing our defaults, which is to do exactly what I just explained to you guys from a T-side perspective, which is to starve you guys of map control, you don't necessarily take control of other areas of the map. And when you do, you're doing it with one person, or you're doing it with a cuck pop flash. Like, you guys aren't, I'm not specifically talking about you guys, I'm just talking about South African teams in general. Just just work on proper pop flashes. Like, if you guys want to take platform control, like work on like a proper pop flash for main, or for platform, or for something that you know will work. Or do a 2-man push, do something unexpected. Or if you just struggle in general, and just try a CT aggression off the start. Like, a team to watch is, if you guys look at Immortals play, like, I don't know if I haven't watched them play since Phelps joined SK, but they used to just on CT side, they would set the pace. They would literally come, for example, on a map like this, and they would just double peak platform, and they would just molly you out and push you back. Like in middle here, they would literally wait for you to. There'll be a guy waiting like this. They'll wait, and they'll have a teamie waiting with a pop flash. And as soon as something happens, he pop flashes into middle, and this guy just steps and rapes everyone. Like that's literally their style. They play. They bring the fight to you as a CT side, and it's something that there's not really a South African team that plays like that. A very aggressive CT side, but it's also very difficult to play. You need like a lot of coordination and planning and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's just yeah.
Sick. En wat ik bedoel bij, let me just speak English. I mean by if you guys are taking map control STs as well, and you guys moving, and your angles and stuff that you're holding, do people just know which angles to hold the whole time when you're moving forward? Practice it forehand, or do you just know and you know you mustn't peek out with a flashbang and all the general stuff?
So if you're taking long now, where your guys crosshairs? Do you guys know this pre-hand? Do you set it pre-hand? Your crosshairs, like exactly.
Basically, you know.
So you
Okay,
and Aaron
no.
are taking long. Do you guys just have a general feel of how you take it and where you guys should be aiming? Like in the demo, you did the smoke and whatever. So, do you guys just know where you're aiming, or have you gone over it and been like, Aaron, you holding this corner while I do this corner, and etc.
It's okay. So this is a fairly. We don't really go over it that much unless it's a difficult area to clear out. Then we'll discuss it. But for example, when myself and Aaron take long, we generally throw that smoke. But or we'll fake it and we'll just throw that smoke after we've taken this before. Once again, just mind fucking the CTs. But like, for example, if I'm clearing this area, firstly you're clearing this angle, and then secondly I just try to peek until I can gauge whether or not there's an AWPer there, or Aaron will flash over for me, and then it's a peek like this, and you're just holding this angle, okay? Until your teammate comes, in which case he can take over for you, but he needs to be fairly close to trade with you, because now the first person is going around and clearing these angles. Once these angles are clear, this guy's still holding this angle, but he's close enough to step and trade with you if he needs to. So he's just holding this angle while I'm clearing this. And then once this is clear, he's still moving forward holding this angle. And then he moves towards the back and I move towards the front. And I'll step close where he'll step wide. And then we'll just both step out at these positions. Or we'll just do a pop flash, in which case we just both step out with that as well. And then it's just all about being thorough at the end of the day. You're just being thorough. You're clearing these angles. You're making sure that everything's clear. While I'm clearing this, there's no point in Aaron for doing this as well. Like, while I'm clearing these angles, he needs to be holding this angle, for example, you know? While one of us is walking down towards danger, I need to be holding this angle. It's as simple as that. And then he'll get to this point, he'll clear this, and then he'll turn, he'll clear that, and then he'll come down and he'll clear danger. Once he's in danger, like, depending on what I'm gonna do is I can either stay and hold this angle, he can clear through danger, clear middle and head back towards B, or I can leave him there and I can rotate back, in which case then he's cleared through middle. He's like, okay, cool, this is all clear, we've cleared long, and now he can get himself into a settled position and he can just chill. The same way with for example, drop down. When you take drop down control, generally you're smoking the right hand side. It doesn't really matter which side you're smoking, okay? But we get one person down here, obviously you hide that with a shot from the top. One guy could be spamming or whatever. But all this guy does is he's holding this angle, okay? The reason why it's not more forward is you want to try and avoid that pop flash. So he's holding this angle, and all this guy has to do is he has to hold this angle. Whether there's a smoke there or not, it's irrelevant. He can just chill like this. And the reason for this is obviously he's got his teammate covering him there. If a CT is pushing out with a pop flash or without, generally his focus is at the top. Okay, he's gonna see this guy before he sees this guy, and even if he's throwing a pop flash, this guy's not getting as blind because he's looking towards this angle. So this is just stuff that you kind of talk about beforehand. Of when you are down in these positions, you should just know, okay, well, I need to be holding this angle because my team is holding my angle there. We don't really get to the point where we get on a server and we say, okay, you do this and you clear this angle and this angle and this angle. We just generally talk about it, and then we trial and error and we just run our defaults. because we've kind of changed our mentality of scrim games aren't there to win. We don't care if we lose a scrim game 0-30. It's not about that. We try to practice things. We try to run our defaults over and over. We'll run our default on a pistol round because we just want to get used to people playing those positions. If you can get to that point where scrim games are only there for practice and for getting used to a concept or principle or style of play, then it won't bother you if you lose. Which we do. We actually lose quite often when we play in our scrim games because we're trying something different. Sometimes we do just fuck around a bit because we've had like a bad game and we just all want to like up the vibe and shit, so we all just run around and play YOLO CS. But that's something different. Like we don't do that very often. But yeah, that's just the general, like just from an individual perspective, everyone needs to know how they need to be clearing the angles and what they need to be doing. It's just about working on yourself as an individual player at the end of the day, just making sure that you are as prepared as you can be on an individual level.
Can I ask one thing? Sorry, sir. Practice. What do you guys actually practice? If you're in a server, do you guys get in a server and actually practice anything? Strats? Do you practice setups? Do you practice your defaults? Do you practice actually anything? What is it? Like, because we, at the moment, I feel like we're just practicing the wrong thing. Like, we focus too much on maybe not the beginning of the round, not the end of the round. We focus on like the middle where we have free reign. We're like throwing smokes and flashies and things.
Oh yeah, one thing that I also just mentioned, I'll answer that now. One thing that I also just need to mention is it's very important to not have a presence on both sides of the map at the same time. You can have that early round when you are taking map control. For example, let's say we're taking long control aggressively or middle control aggressively while the guys on platform are throwing the get right smoke and flashing or mollying that guy back or whatever. Like, that's fine, because that's very early in the round. But once the first 30 seconds have passed, you don't want a guy spamming here like this and throwing pop flashes and one guy jumping around here drop and one guy running around here in danger and flashing and shit like that, because you're not forcing any rotations here. All you're doing is the guys at B are gonna go, I can hear people on platform, the guy at A is gonna go, I can hear people on A, they're throwing shit here. Like, you're not doing anything to the CTs, you're just keeping them where they are. So it's very important to give away as little information as you can from a T-side perspective. Make noise on one side with the purpose of doing something on the other side. That's always how it's going to be. In terms of our practice, like when we started applying this concept, because this default relies heavily on individual decision making. You can't babysit your players here. You need to have confidence in your players to say, okay, you two are going to go take control of this area, and them two, myself and Aaron, need to discuss between ourselves how we're going to take it. If we play a 3-2, I'm calling right now, but I'm not telling the guys at B what they need to do or how they need to do it. I'm listening to what they're saying. They're discussing amongst themselves how they're gonna do it, and I'm listening to that. And then I'm not just keeping quiet and playing based off that. I also need to say what I'm doing because that's very relevant to them as well. It's a two-way street. So then while they're saying what they're doing, I'm saying, okay, Aaron, since they're doing that, let's walk long, or let's walk through middle, or let's just fake here and move back, you know. So from that perspective, you need your individuals to give a lot of input and to make suggestions and to take initiative and to make the correct decisions. Like I say now, if you get that kill at long here, if it's regardless of which one of you it is that got this kill, you need to have the right mentality of what do I need to do next. Do I need to go further? Do I need to hold? Do I need to fall back? You need to, as an individual, be able to make the correct read in that situation, and that's what the default comes down to. So in our practice sessions, what we do 9 out of 10 times is we just discuss this principle that I'm discussing to you guys now, of going quiet, of going dark, of making a presence here, being quiet on the other side. We literally just talking over and over and over about that principle, and then when we play a game and something didn't work, we talk about that round and say, guys, we were playing a 4-1 and I was faking on A on my own, and the 4 of you were chilling on platform like this, and they peeked and they saw you guys. You guys can't be doing that. You guys need to be chilling. You guys need to be quiet, or you need to be doing this. Or we just go over a demo and we say, okay, guys, let's look at this. We were experiencing this problem, and then we identify mistakes and we talk about it. Like we criticize each other, and criticism is also something like you guys have to put your egos aside. I'm not saying you guys have ego problems, but I'm just saying you need to be able in a team to criticize each other. So, and it's positive criticism. Like you need to understand that you all have the same goal at the end of the day, and that's to win and to be successful. So the criticism is never going to come from a negative place. Whether it comes across in a negative tone, it's not coming from a negative place. So you guys need to be able to criticize each other and watch each other's demos and help improve each other. So from that perspective, our default is pretty much just us talking about this, and once we've established that we can play our defaults correctly, which we haven't gotten to now with our new lineup yet, because it's taking a while for Johnny and Reese to get on board. But once we've established that, and we feel comfortable that, let's say on Cash, for example, we can play our default correctly, then we'll start going into more in-depth strats and talk about scenarios. Talking about scenarios is actually something that you also do before you even talk about strats. Don't have any strats or executes. We don't have any of that shit just yet. We're just focusing on defaults, and we talk about scenarios. What if I get a kill here? What do we do? Okay, what if I get a kill there? What if he gets a kill? What if someone dies over there? How do we respond? You know, talk about those scenarios. Get everyone on the same page, because at the end of the day, like we learned this the hard way, is I would get a kill here, or we would discuss the hypothetically, let's say I get a kill here at long, what do I do? And Dimi thought Dimi would expect me to do something completely different to what I was thinking of doing. So it's very important to discuss that amongst yourselves and in the team, so that everyone knows how that player is thinking after that happens. So discussing scenarios and different hypotheticals is very important as well. But then after we've established our defaults, we've talked about scenarios, we're comfortable that everyone knows what they need to do in our defaults, then we'll start going over and start discussing different strats and different splits and stuff. But CS, the current meta right now is very default based. Like a good team to look at is Gambit. They play the slowest default you'll ever see. They literally don't move. They will get map control and they'll hold, and they'll wait till 40 seconds. And because they are playing such a slow default, then what they do is they rotate people back, and they'll do a 4-man breach or 5-man breach somewhere. And the CTs are so cock scared to push into them, because they know they're literally just holding, they're posting these gay angles, and they're just waiting for you. So the CTs are too scared to push, and that's just how they play. They play a really slow default based T side.
Sweet. Okay, Ruan.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
But just one last thing, just in terms of the game that we played you guys on yesterday, like, you guys really shouldn't take anything negative from that, because the game was a lot closer than the score would suggest. 16-1 is not an accurate representation of what happened in that game. But also, one thing that you guys can work on, just from your CT side, is something that we discussed now, or that I discussed now, is just pushing correctly for information. I think it was Spartan that I caught on a few times here, by just pushing through, because you guys weren't spotting long. I think I came through here probably like 3
you got
times.
to the end of wood.
Yeah, I got in here without seeing anyone, and all I did was I was just talking to my teammate, telling them, guys, fall back, like, it's chilled. I'm pretty much on A. And I think I chilled here once, and you walked past like you didn't expect me to be there. It's just the angles that you guys were holding at that time. Or maybe you guys ended up rotating someone towards connector and towards B, which meant that you were on your own here. But that can't really be the case, because if you're on your own here, you can't be in a position where you don't have early info on the site. So maybe then you need to be playing up top here, just quickly spotting or something, you know, or jump spotting or doing something, you know. Especially if you're on your own as 1-4, you're on your own on A, you should not be the person that's getting information. You're the anchor on the site. The second you die, you lose the site, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. You need to be the one that's playing incredibly safe, and the play needs to be made by someone else in your team.
100%.
Yeah.
I think Cobble is a map for CTs that it kind of don't have that many options because it's not like other maps you have more options. I think in terms of the
Yeah.
CT like intro getting whatever.
100%, yeah. It doesn't really accommodate for CT aggression.
So it's true.
Sweet.
Because you can't really
Sweet,
take any areas, like can't really do anything. Cool, yeah, thanks man.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's been
gents.
helpful, super
Yeah.
helpful.
Moxon, I'll still
Thanks,
say
Juan.
100%.
You
Son.
were recorded, so
Oh, really?
I got,
No, I
you,
can't
That
do it. Thanks,
wasn't me,
dude.
that's lucky, dude.
I got you tuning JT and fucking Reese about not being able to keep up with the default yet, so it's,
That's chill. I tell them that it's fine. Sweet, gents. I'm glad I could be of some assistance.
Thank you.
yeah, I think
Really
it's
good,
gonna
good,
put
good,
us on the
bye.
right track, yeah.